Let's learn about the distributive property. The distributive property is a rule that helps us rewrite certain expressions. To help us learn about the distributive property, let's go ahead and start by comparing two expressions. Let's take a look at the first expression. 3 times the quantity 8 plus 5. Now let's go ahead and simplify this expression first before we take a look at the other expression. Well, to simplify, we follow the order of operations, and since we have parentheses, we simplify what's inside first. So we take 8 plus 5. Well, that gives us 13. Then we take 3 times 13, and that gives us 39. Great. Now let's take a look at the other expression. The other expression we want to look at is 3 times 8 plus 3 times 5. Now let's simplify this expression and see what we get. Well, following the order of operations, we multiply first. 3 times 8 is 24, and 3 times 5 is 15. 24 plus 15 gives us 39. Hey, that's the same thing we got when we simplified the first expression. So, both of these expressions simplify down to the same thing. That means that these expressions are equal. 3 times the quantity 8 plus 5 is the same thing as taking 3 times 8 plus 3 times 5. Now, let's go ahead and investigate what we've just found. Let's take a closer look at what's going on here. And to do that, let's bring in some variables. So let's rewrite this expression, except instead of that 8, let's put in an x. So let's now say that we have this expression, 3 times the quantity x plus 5. So here, we're taking x plus 5 3 times. Now, to help us see this visually, let's go ahead and draw this out with algebra tiles. And here we have x plus 5 written out 3 times with algebra tiles. So this is a visualization of this expression. Now, is there a way that we could reorganize these algebra tiles to maybe write this expression in a different way? Well, let's go ahead and group the like tiles together. So let's put the x's together and these singular tiles together and reorganize them that way. Well, here we would have 1, 2, 3 x's, and if we count up these tiles, that's 15 tiles. So we could also write out these same algebra tiles with the expression 3x plus 15. Well, since we've used the exact same algebra tiles, these expressions are equal. 3 times x plus 5 is the same thing as 3x plus 15. It looks like all we really did was take this 3 and multiply it by each term inside the parentheses in order to get this expression. That is what the distributive property is all about. So let's go ahead and take a look at this useful property. The distributive property states that for any real quantities a, b, and c, these statements are true. If we take a and multiply it by the quantity b plus c, the distributive property allows us to distribute in that a into each term inside the parentheses. So, a times the quantity b plus c would become a times b plus a times c. And we can do this the opposite way as well. If we have b plus c first and a second, we can still take that a and distribute it into each term inside the parentheses, just like this. And this also works if we're subtracting inside the parentheses. So say we have a times b minus c. Well, with the distributive property, this would become a times b minus a times c, just bringing the sign inside the parentheses with us. And of course, this works the opposite way as well. So if we have b minus c times a, once again, we can distribute in that a, and we get b times a minus c times a.